Hello. Okay, so I am figuring out new tech here. We're just going to check that it's actually working because I have never used StreamYard to do something like this before. Are we up? We're up. Okay, cool. So, hey, if you are new here, I'm Jill Wise, and I'm going to show you some cool things that I've built and my clients have built inside my program called Leverage Lab because I have been just having so many conversations about what is possible. And it's easier to just show you. So I'm just going to show you. So really, there are a few levels to AI integration, and we're going to talk about those. So in general, first of all, today, we're going to go through the Claude Cowork and Google Workspace system that one of my clients who runs a transportation business built in Claude Code and Cowork using an agent, and this is saving him 30 minutes per booking. We're also going to go through the Claude Cowork scheduled automation that another client who is a coach, she built this to help with her post-meeting processing, and this runs daily for her without her involvement, and it saves her probably about an hour every day. It's helping with all of the back end work for coaching calls. Then I'm also going to show you my launch command center because my AI is so smart now, and it saw a gap for the current launch and it built a solution without me. And then I'm going to walk you through the 5-layer framework that I teach so that you can see what are all the things that you actually need to consider when you're building stuff like this. And if you are new to AI or if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, that's totally normal. And I want to give you kind of an overview of where you probably are and where I would like to see you going. So these are the levels of AI integration that I see with people that I'm chatting with all my clients. When people get started, you're usually at level 1. And as I go through this, I want you to comment, what level are you on right now? And where would you like to go? Because I find that when we are sharing where we're at, that's the best way to learn. And that is honestly why I'm doing this show and tell, so that you can see like you are probably behind, but you're not the only one. And it is possible to get to those level 2 and level 3. Okay, looking at my tech here, there's comments. Can I see them? I can see them. Hey, I see rain. Oh, so fun. I'm using StreamYard for the first time, guys. So, figuring it out. Grace is here. Laurie's here. Cool. Okay, so the levels. Most people are at level 1. This is when you are talking to ChatGPT. It's collaborative. You hear people saying things like, this is my sparring partner, and I'm not having AI do things for me, but I'm having it brainstorm with me. So you're talking to ChatGPT, you're talking to Claude Chat. It's really like back and forth, level 1. Maybe you have downloaded some prompts, you have refined your prompts. This could be even building custom GPTs, kind of doing that kind of same thing with ChatGPT. And that's really where most people start. Then we want to get into level 2 automation. So this is where you are maybe using things like Zapier or Relay. I definitely prefer Relay over Zapier these days because it is AI native. However, these are still conditional logic tree kind of automation tools. They are not fully autonomous. They are not agents. They just have AI built into certain steps. So this looks like, for me, my onboarding process uses Relay, and it can see that certain contracts are signed, certain deposits are made, and it gets clients set up all in the back end. However, then Claude can take it from here. And I'm honestly going to move off of Relay because Claude can handle the first part now too. But that is where the agents are deciding everything on the go. And yes, they're working through your systems, your processes, your SOPs. However, they have a lot more flexibility with what is going on. So that is level 2 automation. And then level 3, where we really want to see people going and where your business fundamentally changes how it operates, is when you have agents that are functioning based on triggers, schedules, conditions. They have all of that logic built in. They know how to act. They have the power to make decisions, following your frameworks, following how you want things done. But this is where, I say that I have 26 agents working for me now. These are fully autonomous. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, this morning I was out of the house going to meetings by 6:15, and all I had to do was open my laptop. And when I got back to my desk 3 hours later, a bunch of work was done, including a lot of the prep work for this. So that is what we are working for, and at least making it so that your level 3 is like, if it's getting a job 50% done for you, that's fantastic. If it's getting it to 60, 70, 80%, that's what we're working for. So Grace says she's at level 1. Lori says she's at level 1.25. I love that I can see the comments in here. I wasn't sure I was going to moderate that. Okay. So that is what we are working for. For those of you who are new here and watching afterwards, hey, I'm Jill Wise. We have to put up the intro. I have been working online for over a decade now. I have built my business around growth consulting, marketing, brand strategy, copywriting, funnels, all of those things. And in more recent years, looking at how can we automate it and how can we add in agentic support without making it suck, because we do not want it to suck. We don't want the slop. We want it to actually work for you and feel good for the humans on the other side, because I am not in the business of like, let's fire our teams and replace humans with AI. It's more like, let's empower humans to do better, because you don't have to waste your time pressing buttons and you can focus on higher impact stuff or more FaceTime with real people. Because like, I've never done a live stream like this because I wouldn't have had time to do something like this before, now I have this time back in my calendar. So that is what we are working towards and who I am. So from here, I want to show you some of these things. Rain is here, so maybe he can even put in the comments. He was one of the ones that the robots picked for me. So in the lab, I have this use case database that my agents have pulled from all of the sources of like where clients are communicating with me. So our calls, our Slack channel, and pulls out everything that people say they have built and a brief overview of it. And the reason why this is helpful is because, like I started all of this, when you can see what other people are building, it gives you ideas of what you can do too. Just this morning in a meeting that I was in, I was talking to somebody about how you can build an FAQ bot for your team. I'm building FAQ bots for other people. I've also built one for my own program. It collects all of the questions that people are asking, stores it into a database just like this. Like, there's so many different solutions that you can come up with when we get creative with it. So because I have this nice database here that any of my clients can go in and check out, my agents, for me getting ready here, were able to pick a couple that we thought would be really good to show you as just like different use cases for very different kinds of businesses. So Rain, if you're still here, we're going to show yours. This is the trip sheet generator. So Rain works with a transportation company, and with every single booking that he has, he was before taking all of that information from the booking platform and creating a trip sheet that has all of the details of the customer, all of the details for the trip, the locations, the timing, everything that a driver could possibly need in order to do a good job to actually get people from A to B where they need to go. And now his Claude can do this process for him. And he shared with us that it saves him 30 minutes per booking, which is a lot, especially if you think of the volume of a business like this. Like, Rain, maybe you can put in the comments typically how many you're doing per day of this. But I love to see 30 minutes saved. 30 minutes and more, amazing. So with this one, how it works is that he has his booking details coming in through his email. If you have any kind of booking platform, booking software, it could work the same kind of way, or it comes in through his check front. And then from there, he provides the booking information into Claude. I believe he set up the MCP connection for this part now, so that at the time that my agent put this in, it was a little bit manual at the beginning, but now it seems like it's more automated. And then from there, it can generate an entire trip sheet. So these are built in Google Sheets. So with this one, we're talking Claude is going into the check front booking software. It is connected to Google Workspace. So it is creating new documents, new sheets in Google Workspace, following the templates. And then it is also filling in all of that information with the correct drivers, the pickup, drop-off details, timing, passenger counts, all of those notes that we need, so that Rain just has to review it. He showed us that he has a great tracking sheet of all the different trip sheets that are in progress, who needs what, who's assigned to who, and Claude just pops it in there as if it were a team member doing this work. And then Rain knows that this is ready for him to review. This is where it's important to have the human in the loop checkpoints. And so he can go in and make sure that everything is ready to go before it actually is sent over to the driver. So I love this one because we have all of the core things that we need. We're connecting the workspaces that people are already using. We are not having to switch off of the platforms because so many of these AI things, they want you to like ChatGPT exists in a silo. Chat work still is in a silo. People are blowing up about it on the internet, and I still don't think it's there. But when we can connect our agents into the places we're already working, then that's where like the real difference happens. So he didn't have to switch all of his platforms. He connected it in, and then Claude can take action where they're already working. He had to make some adjustments to the tracking of all of these trip sheets and basically his to-do list so that Claude could come into it as well. But now it's assigned like a human would be. Brain says sometimes one a day, sometimes we have a backlog as we have a couple coming in that need 2 to 4 trip sheets per booking. So 30 minutes saved is a very conservative estimate in some cases. We love that. We love time saved. So then if we think of like scaling up for a business like this, let's say there's an influx of bookings, like that could take up your whole day. So let's not do that and instead come up with better ways to do it. So going back to this exact use case, once we have the human in the loop checkpoint, everything looks good. Rain is able to check off that this one is good to go. And then Claude can go ahead and start adding this to the shared Google Calendar for his team and assigning it to the right driver so that everything is ready to go. So that is one of these use cases here. What time are we at? How long am I taking here? It doesn't tell me. Okay, I'm 12 minutes in. 12 minutes. We got some time. I have another call after this. I've got calls all day, so we're going to see how much we can get to. If anyone has any questions about this, keep them in the comments now that I found where the comments are. The next one I want to show you is Megan. Where is Megan's in here? Megan has one. Automated clients, no system. So Megan is a coach, a speaker. She's fantastic. She's a book coach. She writes books. They're great. You should go buy her books. Little plug for Megan in here. But Megan, a lot of her work is done on calls. Being a coach, most of your work happens on calls. But then there's all of this like post-processing that needs to happen for that extra client support. So she needs to make sure that clients have the transcripts that they need, any of their to-dos, any key takeaways. All of that stuff needs to end up on their plate. However, Megan, just like me, is a mom of 2, and we're busy, and we are juggling kids around working, and all of that post-call work really sucks from your schedule. So I know personally that when you have been on a day of calls, like at the end of today, I don't want to have to spend time at my desk for like a couple hours after that to deal with all the things that came up during the call. Sending those transcripts, sending those notes, all of that. So Megan built one that is fully autonomous inside Claude Cowork. And this one checks her email every single day for new call recordings, transcripts that end up in her inbox from, I believe she's using Gemini and Google Meet for her transcripts. So those, if you are using any kind of transcript recorder, you know they land in your inbox. Call recordings are there. Claude sees every single day that there are new transcripts out. It pulls out the themes for her and the action items, pulls out any voice of customer quotes for her marketing. This is a part that I love and I recommend for everybody. If you are collecting call transcripts, you can extract VOC from every single call. And this is a huge time saver too. Anyone who's in the marketing and copywriting world, you know this. So instead of us having to set up scheduled interviews all the time, now we can just extract it on the go. So her system gets those quotes that she can use in her marketing, and it also puts all of the notes and recording links into the right client locations automatically. So for her, she uses Slack for her clients. So that means that those call transcripts are coming from her emails with all of the to-dos, being compiled in a nice tidy to-do, and then going to the correct client in Slack because the AI is smart enough to know what is it to do and who it needs to actually go to. And then she has her own voice of customer database, bank of ideas for her marketing content. So then when she plans her own marketing, she can go back to that bank. So this is kind of like a twofer. And this one, she told me, is saving her like an hour of work every single day because I like to do my call post work at the end of the day. She does hers the next morning when she's getting to work. And then this way, she doesn't have to start her day with this busy admin time. And instead, she can get right into working with her clients. And for her, when you are a coach and a creator and somebody like her who's writing books, like she needs that focus time. And so many of us are distracted and reactive and not protecting that focus time. And this is just one way that you can protect that and do the most important things first. So I went through the process, how it works. Call ends, recording lands in Google Drive. Claude Cowork skill runs on a daily schedule and checks for new recordings, reads the transcripts, extracts key action items, key themes, any client quotes, saves some of those for our own marketing, formats the session notes, and drops them with the recording link into the correct location for the client. So Megan said in our Slack channel for the lab that she was celebrating a skill that automated everything about client notes and recordings. It checks every single day, all of the same things that I just said here. So I love celebrating time savings like this with my clients. So this one, same idea. It's working where your clients work. We're connecting Claude to Slack. We're connecting Claude to Gmail. We're connecting it to Drive. I love the connectivity. And I think that's really what makes the difference between Claude and some of these other platforms. However, we don't even need to build in a way that is platform agnostic. I know I'm talking about Claude a lot right now, but it does not need to be Claude specifically. I'm going to show you here. So we're like really experimenting with some things. I'm going to draw on my tablet. When you build a brain, I'm going to hold over here, that's external from your robots. This is a robot. Then your robots can plug into your brain, but you can also disconnect it when you want and switch over. So you do not have to be married, here's a wedding ring, to ChatGPT or Claude, because we know that all of these platforms are in a race right now to have the best AI. We can see this with the models that are coming out. So Anthropic makes Fable. It's available, and it's not available because of security, and then it is available again, and then now ChatGPT comes out with their own Claude, or their own work that is basically copying Claude Cowork, but it's still in a silo because it's not connected, but they say it's the most connected, but when you get to it, it's really not the most connected. So we know that we don't want to rely on one of these platforms. When you are building only in ChatGPT, I was talking to somebody this morning about this. If you're here, let me know. Or if you're watching the replay, comment. When you build only in ChatGPT, then all of your memory is stuck in ChatGPT. And then your team can't plug into it. So you're like, I came up with all of these things already. I've done this before. Why am I repeating myself? Why do they not get it? Why those silly little robots keep getting it wrong? This is why. Because you have attached your brain into, I'm gonna add another one here, another drawing in here. You have attached your brain into a platform specifically, then you are not platform agnostic. You are stuck. We don't want that. So we build a brain first, and that's what makes these other things possible. Then, where are we at? Where are we at in my notes? 20 minutes. Okay, so my own that I want to show you. I have mentioned before, I have 26 agents right now that are working for me. Where's my pen? 26 agents. The way that they work is, we call this orchestration. There's my briefing agent. That's the one that I mostly communicate with. Oh, we can't see the slide. Oh, where are we? There we are. Guys, I have like 3 screens going on right now. Bear with me. Okay. So 26 agents, I have my briefing agent. This is the one that tells me what's going on every day. It is the one that's mainly communicating with me. I have a dashboard. It's briefing me on everything. From there, we are orchestrating because it's just like an organization. It's just like an org chart. So I have one that's like for client stuff, and I have one for my ops, and sales, all the things that are like the business over here. And then there's one for clients over here. They need to talk to each other too. When they're talking to each other really well, then you don't have to be in Claude in ChatGPT all the time. This is why connectivity is really important, and why I recommend that we do the external brain. When it's all in your brain on the outside, then all of these other agents can plug in to your brain. Are we following my drawings? These are so silly. Okay. Anyway, so my command center, my launch command center, my agents, my briefing agent, my nice little briefing agent identified for me that I was planning this launch where I'm enrolling people behind the scenes for pre-sales, and I wasn't really tracking this work specifically. So there was no tracking, I have my main sales pipeline, but I wasn't tracking this specifically. There was a bunch of to-dos that were like in my head or random notes. And just all of the things that go along with it. So it identified this for me and it suggested, hey, Jill, let's make a command center. And that's just a fancy way of saying that it was a dashboard. And a dashboard is really, I use Notion for these kind of things. So it made like a page in Notion, basically. And in this page, it's like launch. I can't show you the actual page, unfortunately, just because there's too much, sensitive things in there. But it's like launch, and it's like, here's your to-dos. And here's what agents can do. And then it's listing all these things out. It built it all for me. It started actually doing all of these things because my briefing agent actually every morning tells me where I am the bottleneck. And it offers to take things off of my plate because I have programmed it to be like that, because I have given it so much context in the brain that now it can see the business goals. It can see what my sales are. It can see what I'm working on, what I would like. It has my vision. It has processes. It has literally everything in the brain. And then because it sees that, it can give, this is so bad, it can give suggestions for to-dos that it can take. Because it's like, oh, I know how to do this. I know how Jill wants a sales page to be written. I have an old draft of a sales page. Let's take the old draft, compare it to the VOC that we've collected through the current program, and make suggestions of where that can be updated. So then when you look at that sales page, some of you who know me and have known me for years are going to look at it and it's going to sound very close to me, like very close. I know it's not absolutely perfect. I have to pick my battles. However, I would say it's like 90% there. You will probably think that I wrote all of it, and I did not. I just trained the AI to write it like me. So that's one example. So that's my launch command center. Now, every single day, it wrote a patch for itself to go to the briefing agent. So we have that nice briefing agent over here. So then every single morning, the briefing agent knows, oh, we need to actually talk to LC, our launch command robot over here too, to see what's up. So that my to-do list for the day is updated with this launch. So it knew that I was going to do this show and tell. This is on my calendar. It helped me get ready for this. I had put in some ideas that I had of what to cover, and it went back into all of my records from the previous program to come up with suggestions of what to show you. So that is, I guess, an overview of my launch command center. Let's see if there's any questions here. Can we define agents define agents? Are these AI skills? Okay, so everyone always asks this. Let's make a new page here. Move this over and move this over. So you're looking at what I'm looking at. Agents versus skills. Skills are a workflow, a specialization. It's like, can you guys see my fancy pieces of paper? I have fancy pieces of paper up here. Those are skills I have, but I am not those. They're just things that I have. They're things that I collect, that I know how to do. The paper shows that I know how to do it. Skill files are kind of the same idea. A skill file is not an agent. If somebody is selling you a skill file and saying it's an agent, they're lying, or they don't know. They don't actually know. An agent works on its own. It produces something. It has skills. It is often based on conditions and triggers. There's a few more things, but this is like a summary of it. So agents can have skills. One agent can have access to many skills. I've built my agents so that some of them have access to many skills. They know what skills to draw on. For example, because of usage, in order to keep usage costs down and just more efficient, I have daily, like during the day, agents that are doing tasks during the day, and they're only doing the simple things that are like under 30 minutes for a human to do, like pretty easy. Then I save the tasks that are bigger. So if I'm building out a whole new client brain that would be a huge task. So that is going to go to my overnight agent instead. And then the overnight agent can use like literally any skill, because it'll see, oh, I'm going to build a client brain. And then I'm also going to help Jill prep for all meetings tomorrow. So these are like overnight agents. And then they're going to brief my morning briefer. So that overnight agent has access to many different skills. Skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. Hopefully that explains the difference there. So that is how you start to think of it, rather than in a silo. It's connectivity. I'm gonna write these down too so you guys can see it. Connected in your workspaces, and we're orchestrating. Not necessarily just delegating. Can we read this? I'm gonna have to get better at my quick writing here so you guys can actually read this. Okay, so thank you for clarifying, answering the video. Agents work on their own, have skills, produce something conditioned. Yes, exactly. Thank you for writing that out for my chicken scratch we have here. Okay, so those are some use cases here. Then I want to show you the 5-layer framework. Where is that? Did I put that in? No, I did not put that in. We're going to draw that one. So with the 5-layer framework, maybe I'll just type, no, that's going to make clicking noises. I'm not going to type it. With the 5 layers, when you are building stuff like this, you need to think of all of these. What are they? What am I writing? Guys, where's my tab? Let me write this. There. 5 layers. You need your context first. This is your brain that I talked about earlier. You need your context plug into the brain. Then your agents. What are they producing? How do you communicate? How do I spell communicate? Undo, undo, undo. And then how do they grow, improve, like basically the health? So those are your 5 layers. You need all of these 5 layers to produce systems like what I showed you. If you don't have the context, let's go back over here to the use cases. Share this tab instead. Trip sheet generator. If Rain did not take the time to give his agents the context they need to do this well, they wouldn't do it well. They would struggle. Like, they need to know, what does a completed one look like? How does he do the process? Like, actually showing step by step, just like you're training humans. What is that context? How does the business like things done? Why? Like decision-making frameworks, all of that stuff. Then you can build the agent. When you are building the agent, you need to be clear on what it is producing. This, what it is producing, is generating the formatted trip sheet with a driver assignment. We have to be very specific. You would not send a new team member off on a wild goose chase to make something without those instructions. So why would you do that to your robots and then expect them to do a good job? Like, people are shocked when the robots give them slot back, but they gave them the worst instructions to begin with. Let's give them good instructions about what they should produce. What counts as a job well done? Then communicating is the way that you're actually going to talk to your agents. So you could do that in Claude. However, I don't want to have to babysit my agents. So instead, I use something like Notion or Slack to communicate with them. Sometimes I have to go into Claude, but I often don't have to these days, because unless I'm going to be working on something like live collaboratively right there, but not for the agentic work that's just happening all day long. I communicate with mine through Slack and through Notion, just like I do any human team member. So I can like literally tag Claude in a task. I can't in here because it's not in this board as like an option in here. There's no assignee, but just like you see the cohort in here as a status, I can assign myself, I can assign Claude. My Claude also likes to try to assign other people's Claude's things, so that's fun. But it's right in where I'm already working. Again, going back to how it's important to connect into where you're already working, and that's how your business changes. When we are looking at the growth and improvement in the health of your systems, that is where you are giving it feedback. So you can give it feedback in a few different ways. You could either literally go in and like talk to Claude and say, hey, this is what I like and don't like. You can talk to ChatGPT in the same way. You know, you're giving it feedback. It produced something for you. You edit it, you give it back, say, this is why I changed this. So that's one way. You can also give it feedback through your communication channels, whatever you choose. Or I also like to run things consistently. So for myself and for clients where I'm building this stuff for them, I have weekly and or monthly cadences where we are auditing what is working, all of the systems. My agents now know how to audit their own systems, and they can find places where they're maybe not firing how they should, or where there's been a lot of feedback from me that's kind of negative. So maybe they need to recalibrate. It will flag it for me. It puts a little like emoji, like caution emoji right there. So I know I can see that one, this one needs help. And then when this happens ongoing, then they get better and better. And that's where we're working to move from the 50%. Let's say we start and it's 50% there. Great, you only had to do half the job. Fantastic, you can save that 50% for the extra. But if we can get it to the like 80, 90% there, that's the goal. Okay, do we have any more questions here before I go on to the next things? Where are my comments? Where are they at? I love that you are putting the comments in here for me. So the 5 layers: context is the brain, the agents, the producing, communication, grow, and improve. Any questions before I jump to the next thing? Cool. Okay, so this is what is possible for you. Obviously, I would love to show more people how to actually do this. So if you want to build with me, we are enrolling for the next cohort of Leverage Lab. We're going to get started in August. This is where I show you how to build that second brain, how to come up with your operating instructions, how to build a custom AI system that runs without you. We don't want to be babysitting. We want to move from that 50%, that level 1, then the 50%, then up to that 80 and 90% where it's getting smarter for you all the time, and you can focus on doing better things. I do not think that you need to be tech savvy. I literally a few years ago was saying things like, I'm not that techie, which is so funny to me because now I'm like vibe coding full on apps and stuff like that and building systems like this. So I don't think you need to be techie. You just need to be able to approach the problem with like a creative mind, really. Like, how can I come up with a solution for this? And if you know how to describe what you want, then we can build it. It's literally like almost anything is possible. So as long as you have a clear idea of what the vision is, then we can find a way to get there. So that is what we're doing in the lab, right? Starting in August. And how it works is basically we have a private Slack community that's for the async support. This is how I support all of my clients. We're all busy. So we have obviously live sessions, but the async support is really where I like to show up for you. So I'm in Slack a couple times a day, replying to people, making sure that everybody has what they need. My robots are in there, collecting all the information, adding to our use cases, adding to our FAQ database. They're going to start replying soon as well because they're getting so smart. You also get access to my learning dashboard, and this is where I drop weekly to-dos. So I focus on keeping things really practical. This is not like, here's the buttons you should press. There are tons of free courses you can take online that are like, here's how to use Claude specifically. I'm like, how can we create something practical and applicable here instead? So you will get your weekly to-dos dropped in your learning dashboard. That is a mix of videos, screen share tutorials. I have cheat sheets, templates. the use case database that I just showed you, I have a handful of agentic skill files, more than a handful. There is a library of agentic skill files for Claude AI. These are ones that I've built, I use myself, I build for clients. They've turned into templates so that more people can use them. All of the skill files that are currently in there are all listed on the sales page. We also do 3 live sessions where we are actually mapping out your systems together. We do a show and tell just like this, but where people are showing it to each other. And then also some other group Q&A calls where maybe there's not anything scheduled, but you have questions and you can just come and ask those questions and get the support you need. They all vary at different times because for those of you who are tuning in locally, you've learned that I have a global audience that I've worked with for years. So we try to cater the calls based on the time zones that people are in. Sometimes everybody's more so on the Pacific and Eastern coast of North America. Oftentimes, I also have people that are in Europe and Australia. So we try to find times that most people can come to all of them. They're all recorded though. And if you can't make a call, then I make sure that I am still answering your questions specifically. Some weeks we have homework submissions for personalized feedback. So this is where I need you to actually give me the exercises that you're doing so that I can create recommendations just for you. And then this time around, I'm combining my done for you work with this so that there's an option to upgrade for some done for you support. So it's kind of like a middle ground versus those that need me to come all in and just build it all for them. This is a good option where you can learn how, but I can help you map out what your systems are alongside you in the program. So that's kind of the overview of it. If you want to check that out, you go to itsjillwise.com/leverage. Is open today. We already have a few people in, so that's really fun. And I'm really excited for what the group is going to be. I keep it capped so that I can make sure that I'm giving everybody the personalized feedback that they need and deserve. Oh, is this Eric that I met yesterday? Is that you who's commenting here? 100% agree. You need to be a problem solver, critical thinker, not a coder or a developer to make use of the tools and concepts like this. Yeah, the tech is like, you can learn the tech. The robots can walk you through the tech. Fable 5 is getting really good at doing that too, but you still like all of the things that you know in your head about how you run your business, that is the value. I really think that context is the valuable thing. I'm so happy that I did not ever delete anything over the years because now I can use all of my frameworks that I've built over literally like the last decade to help build out these systems now. All of your context, all of the things that help you decide what to do every day that live in your head right now, that is what becomes gold when you're building out truly agentic systems like this. You just need to learn how to extract it and then have a process to map out what the system is going to be and then support to make things step by step by step. So I like to help people pick what is the highest ROI system that we can start with. And we start there because that makes the most sense. So we're not dabbling around with like willy-nilly, but you show me what is working, what's not working, and I help you choose what's going to make you the most money faster, what's going to make you the most time back faster, because I really want people to see an ROI on this like right away. Like I love seeing other people make money. So if I can do that for you, that's why I like to help. I think that's everything that I said I would get to. Do we have any questions about the systems themselves? If you're tuning in late, you can scroll back. I'm going to keep this up on the channel so you can go back and look at those. If we like these, I think I'm going to do a few more of them because there's just so many things, as you saw, that database. There's so many things that we can show. And this one is just for the current cohort. This is not even including all of my done for you client work that we could show as well. So there's just so many possibilities for me. Grace says, I like seeing me make money too. Yeah, literally one of my favorite things is when clients tell me that they made money. I like still squeal every time. They're like, yeah, like this happened. Fantastic. Like I started this with, it's all about empowering business owners to help you make your team make a bigger impact, or yourself if it's just you. Like we're not in, I say often that I'm like on a mission to replace myself because that's just like fun to say. And I have basically done that. However, that's not really the goal. I just see it as a way for people to get better, level up, upskill, and make more of an impact with the time and resources that they have so that we can live wonderful lives offline instead. So thank you to everyone who's here. I'll hang out here for another minute or so to see if we have any more questions. And I will be in and out of my emails over the next couple of weeks. If anyone has any questions about the lab, I'm happy to jump on a quick call with you too to see if it's a good fit, because I truly try to make sure that anyone in there is actually a good fit for it. Like, we don't want you in the wrong place. So I will be available there. One of the places that I don't have my robots actually reply for me is in emails and Slack. They are looking. They tell me who to reply to, but I feel like we still need that personal human connection, and they might help me draft things, but I am the one who is actually talking to you, responding to you through all of that. One thing though is that the robots did have helped me with a lot of the sales emails that are going out for launch, and Grace, you would know because you've seen my stuff from before. So if you check out any of the collateral, just tell me if it sounds like a robot or if it sounds like me, because I'm quite proud of that. It sounds like me. Do you have preferences for where and how you store your brain? I have certain platforms that I like and recommend and where I've built my templates, but you do not need to choose what I choose. So I typically will suggest clients use something like Notion or ClickUp or Asana, something that's like a popular one like that. And that is because they have direct connections to Claude. So it makes it easy to plug in, and it makes it easy because they're so big to, like, say Claude goes down tomorrow, we can plug the next one in because they're so big. I also like them because a lot of businesses don't have project management software yet, and that is definitely a roadblock. When you're starting to set up systems, you need to have a place where you're tracking your projects. So yeah, I suggest using something like Notion or ClickUp where you have that project management built in. You can put all of your brain elements in there as well. When I'm building something like this for a client, I will choose one of those and recommend one of those unless they already have something else. I believe you said this morning you already have something else. So we would look at the tech capabilities and see what we can do with what you already have first before migrating you somewhere else. Some people in the program, I believe Rain stuck with Google Workspace. I think somebody else is using Asana. So it really doesn't matter where you put them. One of the clients in the lab right now built his own fully custom CRM, and the brain isn't there. So he's like fully vibe coded, something from invoicing, team management, all of his brain materials, his to-dos, like literally everything is in there. He showed us. It's so cool. And so you can build something like that too. That is a goal for a lot of people, so that you can remove all of your tech stack. However, when we're getting started, I don't think it makes sense to try to build that when you don't really need to yet. We can use the bigger players that are already out there. Another one is, do you feed in external sources to your brain example? So a CRA website for a bookkeeping service. Can you give me more context here? Like, what on the CRA website would you need for it? Is it kind of like the protocol, the rules? Because you can definitely have your agents browse those websites and you can say, these are recommended sources. So if I have a client that's like a more regulated industry, maybe let's say, and we need to make sure that the sources they're using are all validated. Myself, for example, I don't like you'll see other people who are talking about AI stuff and they make it all about AI stuff, and all of their agents are clearly crawling the same news sources for what's new in AI today. And then they just regurgitate that shit in their content. And I don't like that. I also don't like my agents doing things that are outside of my own frameworks. So I tell mine, do not go look at the internet. Do not go scrape the same slob that other people are posting. Only use my archives. It's different for me because I have so many previous workshops, teaching materials, things like that I can train my agents with. If you don't have that, then we can definitely give them preferred sources where they're able to go get information from, just like you can a human. You could tell a human, write this blog post for me, but don't use these sites. Don't go just look at other blog posts about this. Look at the actual source of the information instead. So yeah, if you use the CRA for reference or rules or regulations to guide your internal SOPs, you can absolutely tell it, just only use what you see on this website. I just say, don't make anything up. Do not guess. If you're not sure, ask. These are really important, little things to add into all of your skills and your prompts. Another one for that could be that you are like pulling out the pieces you need and then storing that separately in your brain, because we have to think of like the efficiency of it as well. So it's going to use more power to go search the web than if you take the rules and regulations that you need and put those into your SOPs. But of course, it can help you do that. But if we're just talking like everyday, day-to-day stuff, like how my agents are just running in the back end, I don't want them browsing the internet all the time. That's going to use a lot of unnecessary power. We don't want to waste that. We're going to use it well instead. I feel like I was going to add something else there and I forget what it is right now. I cannot remember. Okay. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, let me know about the lab. Would love to add some more use cases to our database of things that people are building. And I cannot remember that last point for the life of me, so I guess we're just going to have to come back to it. So thank you to those of you who are watching live, and if you're tuning in afterwards, please let me know where you're at, what levels we're at. We'll go back to those levels so you can see those here. And let's try to get some more people from that level 1 up to that 2 and 3 so that we can spend the rest of our summers outside. Okay, I will see you all soon.